Hold on tight, we're not done yet. Wolves, advance, protect the flank!
They expected the cub to fail. That was the point of the chamber. The trial hall of Rexus Station was built to break young predators, quietly, efficiently, and without witnesses who might object. Its walls were smooth and pale, curved inward in subtle ways that made distance hard to judge. The air was cold, scrubbed of scent, designed to deny comfort and amplify fear. At the center of the chamber sat the cub. It was small even by juvenile standards. Its fur was patchy, still growing into its frame. Its claws were short, blunted by nervous scraping against the floor. One ear bent slightly forward where cartilage hadn't fully hardened. Its chest rose and fell too fast, breath shallow, eyes wide and shining with instinct it didn't yet understand. Around the chamber, behind transparent observation barriers, the elders watched. They were tall, armored in natural plates, eyes dark and reflective. Their species, known across the galaxy as the Varnics, were apex predators, infamous for their ferocity and battlefield discipline. Entire systems surrendered at the sight of their warforms. But their power came at a price. Varnic's doctrine demanded strength without hesitation. Those who hesitated were removed. Those who failed were forgotten. And this cub? This cub had already failed once. The glyphs above the chamber pulsed softly. Trial Stage 3, Stress Escalation. Subject response, inadequate. Outcome projection, termination likely. An elder shifted its weight. Begin escalation, it said calmly. The chamber lights dimmed. Low-frequency vibrations rippled through the floor, resonating through bone and instinct alike. The cub flinched, claws digging in as it tried to steady itself. Its tail curled tightly around its body, a reflexive attempt to protect vulnerable organs. The observers recorded everything: heart rate, hormone spikes, fear responses. This one is weak, it does not assert, said another. It does not strike, a third agreed. Failure of lineage, the first concluded. No one spoke in the cub's defense, because no one ever did. Except, unexpectedly, someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Elias Rourke stood near the chamber entrance, his courier jacket still dusted with frost from the docking ring. He wasn't military, he wasn't diplomatic. He was a human logistics contractor who had taken a wrong turn after delivering sealed supplies to the station's outer ring. The door had sealed behind him automatically, locking him into the observation corridor before he'd even realized where he was. At first, he assumed it was a lab. Then he saw the cub. Then he heard the word termination. Elias swallowed hard. He'd seen dangerous creatures before. Everyone in deep space had. But this wasn't danger. This was a child being tested until it broke. The cub whimpered, a small, involuntary sound that echoed through the chamber. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it hit Elias like a punch to the chest. He stepped forward without thinking. A warning glyph flared instantly in front of him. Restricted observation zone, non-authorized interference prohibited. An elder turned its head. There is a human present, it said flatly. Yes, an error in corridor routing. Remove him, a third said, before escalation reaches lethality. Security fields hummed softly. Elias didn't move. Just wait a second, he said, his voice echoing more than he expected. Several elders looked directly at him now. You are not part of this, one said. Step back. Elias looked at the cub again. The vibrations intensified. The cub curled tighter, eyes squeezed shut. Something in Elias snapped into place. No, he said quietly, you're wrong. The elder stiffened. Clarify, one demanded. That cub isn't weak, it's overwhelmed. There's a difference. A low murmur rippled through the observers. The elders did not like being contradicted. "You presume to judge our trials?" an elder growled. Elias took a breath. "I'm judging the outcome you've already decided on. You're not testing strength. You're testing how much pain it takes before something stops trying." The vibrations vibrated harder. Warning tones rose. Stress threshold approaching critical. The cub cried out, a sharp, frightened sound, and something ancient and human surged through Elias's veins. He stepped forward again. Security fields snapped into place in front of him. "Human, do not interfere," an elder snapped. Elias placed his hands on the field. "I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to stand." The field hummed louder. "Why?" an elder demanded. "Why risk yourself for a failed cub?" Elias didn't answer immediately. He watched the cub struggle to breathe. Then he said, "Because someone should have stood for me." Silence fell. No human records would ever fully capture what happened next. Only fragments survived in official logs. The security field flickered, not because Elias forced it, because the system hesitated, unable to classify his intent as hostile. He stepped through. Alarms flared. The elders rose as one. "Stop him!" Elias didn't run. He walked into the chamber, boots echoing softly, every instinct screaming at him to flee. The vibrations battered his chest, rattled his teeth, but he kept moving. The cub saw him. Its eyes snapped open. Fear flashed, then confusion, then something else. Elias kneeled slowly, deliberately, placing himself between the cub and the far wall where the stress emitters were mounted. "Hey, you're okay. I've got you." The cub didn't understand his words, but it understood his posture. He wasn't dominant, he wasn't aggressive, he was shielding. The vibrations continued for half a second longer, then stopped. Every system in the chamber stalled. The elders stared in disbelief. "That should not have worked," one whispered. The cub trembled. Elias stayed where he was. Minutes passed, then the cub moved. Slowly, cautiously, it pressed its forehead against Elias's shoulder. A contact gesture, an anchor. The chamber's systems registered a cascade of anomalies. Stress markers dropped, heart rate stabilized, fear responses dampened. "What is happening?" an elder demanded. Another elder's voice was quieter. "The cub is regulating." Elias exhaled shakily, one hand hovering just above the cub's back, not touching, but close. "You don't have to be brave," he murmured. "You just have to keep breathing." The cub did. The trial was suspended within the hour. The elders argued fiercely, voices echoing through council chambers as data replayed again and again. The cub, expected to shatter, had stabilized under stress once external fear was removed. Not eliminated, managed. "This undermines our doctrine," one elder snarled. "It challenges our assumptions," another countered. The third spoke slowly. "It produces better outcomes." That was the most dangerous statement of all. Elias was detained, not imprisoned, but confined while the council deliberated. The cub remained under observation, allowed to rest for the first time since the trial began. When Elias was finally summoned, the elders regarded him differently, not as a threat, as a variable. "You interfered," one said. "Why?" Elias shrugged weakly. "Because letting it break felt wrong." The elder studied him. "And if your presence had made it weaker?" Elias met his gaze. "Then you'd have proven me wrong, but you didn't even want to check." Silence. At last, the eldest spoke. "The cub will not be terminated," it said. Elias felt his knees nearly give out. "It will be reassigned," the elder continued, "under monitored human exposure." Elias blinked. "You mean me?" "Yes," the elder leaned forward. "You stepped forward when we expected failure. Now you will remain, and we will observe what becomes of strength when fear is not its foundation." Years later, Varnick's doctrine would change. Not quickly, not easily, but it would change. Varnick's predator cubs exposed to human calm improved control, sharper judgment, fewer catastrophic failures. Strength remained, but it was no longer brittle. And the tiny cub? It grew. Tall, powerful, respected, but it never forgot the human who knelt when everyone else stood back. In Varnick's academies, a single recording became mandatory viewing. A small cub shaking in a white chamber, a human stepping forward. In the moment, everything changed. They expected the tiny cub to break. Instead, a human did something braver. He stayed.